Okay, so I've been talking to you about childhood trauma, but I want to just, in this second segment, in talking about trauma, discuss what happens if you're an adult and you never got treatment for trauma. So, the first thing to know is that a noted trauma researcher called Bessel has put it this way, that the body counts the body keeps the score, which means that the body holds on to the trauma. What does that mean? Well, it may mean that you can be triggered by certain types of physical contact or being in situations that may remind you of the trauma, and your body will feel it first. You may have noticed, if you've had experiences of childhood trauma, uh, say you meet someone for the first time and they say a particular phrase, or they have a certain cologne or perfume, that can bring back a trauma reaction to you. Even eating certain foods may do that. So, how do you know if you're having a trauma reaction? Well, it's really where your body is flooded with feelings, kind of like a dam has burst and you're just flooded with feelings. And these may be the same kinds of feelings that you experienced during the original traumatic experience. It could be flooded again also with feelings of I'm not safe, or I don't feel secure, I'm not at peace. All of these feelings and thoughts and many more may have been what you experienced in the original trauma, and then they may be triggered by new experiences as an adult. So, for example, say your boss raises his voice at you. He may not even have yelled at you, but maybe slightly raised his voice. Or someone gets angry at you. You may have a reaction to that that's much more exaggerated and above what other people may have responded with. And that could be because of your past trauma. So just think for a moment and see if you can identify situations where your trauma has been triggered. And you may have said to yourself, I don't know why I get so upset about this. Or you may have said, I don't know what's wrong with me. Why am I reacting this way? And you may also, if you had connected your trauma to your food and body image issues, may be asking yourself, why can't I get better? Why can't I get rid of my food addiction and my binge eating? So if you've had trauma, childhood trauma, that may be the reason why you get more upset than expected, why you're reacting in a certain way. So again, think about situations in your life where you've had that kind of experience and see if you can identify the emotions that you had during the original trauma. Many times you can't, because you may have been too young to even remember how you felt, but sometimes you can remember, and if that's possible, that may be a key to helping you unlock how the trauma has led to where you are today, experiencing binge eating, food addiction, and emotional eating. The other thing that happens with trauma, and remember, we're talking about childhood trauma, so anything that happens before at the age of 18, that can cause a loss of essential part of yourself, loss of sense of safety, security, trust, peace, etc. And when that happens, it actually changes the brain connections, to the connections between brain cells. So when you're young, your brain is still developing. And when you have a trauma, when you're young, it actually changes these brain cell connections, and then can really lead to hyperactivity of the stress response, as I mentioned in the previous trauma video. So you may find that you're way more reactive to stress or more sensitive to stress than perhaps other people that you know. So, for example, say you've lost your job, which is a big stressor. And I've experienced that more than once. I'm not underestimating it. So you have something like that, and you're maybe 1 out of 50 people who were laid off by a company. You may actually go off the deep end, become depressed, start overeating, gain a lot of weight, and have other negative situations come into your life because of it. If that happens, this may be your reaction to stress, which has changed from childhood trauma. People who have experienced childhood trauma are hyperactive to any stressful event compared to people who have not. So the last thing I'm going to mention today is that when you go through a lot of stress, I've mentioned again that your brain connections, the brain cell neuron connections change. The other thing you may have noticed is that you maybe have what we call emotional dysregulation. What does that mean? Well, that means that your emotions are much stronger, much more intense, and much harder for you to tolerate than maybe other people who haven't experienced childhood trauma. So when you get upset, you may really get upset. When you get sad, you may really, really get down in the dumps and may even feel like hurting yourself, and also feel like overeating or binging to numb yourself from these uncomfortable emotions. So those are some of the things that you may ask yourself whether they apply to you and whether you resonate with them. Even if you did not get help after a childhood trauma, it's never too late. I have people in the Anchor program with the history of childhood trauma, everyone from ages 19 all the way up to in their 70s. So it's never too late to get help. And when you get help, you will find that you have much more freedom around food and a better connection and relationship with your body. So I hope that's helped. Please share this video with anyone who might benefit. Please also subscribe to my YouTube channel and give us a ranking so we can help get the word out. All right, until next time, this is Dr. Carolyn signing off.